خلينا نسجل. So the first criterion is fluency and coherence, and you probably can say that coherence and cohesion, they are 2 in 1, fluency and coherence 3 in 1. That's the first criterion. The second one is lexical resource. Do you know what they mean by lexical resource?
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary, yeah. And the third one is grammatical range and accuracy. So how many criteria here? How many criteria? Grammatical range and accuracy. They are 2 in 1, by the way.
Yes.
It's not about how many sentence structures you are using, but also how accurate you are. So you must pay attention to the accuracy in your speech.
Okay.
The last one is pronunciation, okay? And in the speaking test, in the IELTS speaking test, they don't care about the accent. If you have an accent, like I have Egyptian accent, you have Sudanese accent, someone else has Saudi accent or whatever accent, they don't care about the accent as long as you speak right pronunciation. You don't have mispronounced words, okay?
Okay.
So now I'm going to assist you according to these criteria, and I sent you the PDF document. Have you checked it? That what should you do in each one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So are you ready for the test?
Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Take your time.
Okay, let's start.
Sure. So we have before the 3 parts of the IELTS speaking test, we have what is called the 0 part. You know the 4 questions that you would be asked in the 0 part?
Yes.
They will ask you about your name and how can they call you, your country, and they will need to check your identification card. So if they ask you like, what's your name, or may I have your name, please?
My name is.
So they can ask you the question in a direct way or an indirect way, like, what's your name, or can you tell me what your name is?
Okay.
May I have your name, please? That's different questions for the same purpose. So you tell your name, then be ready for the next question. How can I call you?
You can call me.
Okay. So could you tell me where you come from?
I am originally Sudanese.
Okay. So can I see your identification card?
Here you go.
Thank you. Yeah, okay. So in this first part of the speaking test, I'm going to talk with you about your country. That's topic 1. Then we're going to move to topic 2, which is about food. So let's get started talking about your country. Do most people live in houses or apartments in your country?
Most people in my country live in big, spacious houses, not apartment.
You should speak more and more, you know, by the way. You should speak for at least 30 seconds, not 5 seconds or 7 seconds, then you stop talking, because the speaking test is all about fluency and accuracy. So if you speak accurate English, but you don't speak for a long time, you stop talking after a while, after 5 or 7 seconds, that will not help you in the fluency part. You will lose quarter of the score, like 9, 4 nines. So you will lose the first one, which is about fluency. So please.
So how many sentences for each question?
Sorry?
How many sentences should I answer?
It's not about sentences, it's about time, you know? It's about time. Probably 30 seconds for each question you should talk.
Okay.
Because in part 1, we have 8 questions. 2 topics. Each topic has 4 questions. So we have 8 questions in 4 or 5 minutes. Then you have to give every question at least half a minute.
Okay. Can we try again?
Yeah, sure. So do most people live in, and try to paraphrase, by the way, okay? Don't copy the words of my question. Just try to use your own words as much as you can, okay?
Okay.
So do most people live in houses or apartments in your country?
In my country, most of the people live in big, spacious houses because the land, there's a lot of land, and it's a big city, so there is a lot of space for people to build houses. very few people live in apartments, and these are only the young people or the newlywed or small families. They live in small apartments, but big families, they live in houses.
So how about you yourself? Where do you live? In a house or an apartment? You can extend your answers, by the way.
My family in
Yeah.
Sudan lives in a big house. It's a two-story house. We are 4 kids, so each one of us has his own room, in addition to a big master room for my parents.
I see. Okay, so what do people usually do in their free time in your country?
People in my country are very social, so I think a big part of their free time they spend it visiting friends, neighbor, socializing, and hanging out with their friends and relatives.
You can talk about yourself. What do you often do in your free time? Like to extend your answers, because you have to speak for 30 seconds. You spoke only for 15 seconds, by the way, just now. So what do you actually do to spend your free time?
Okay, so I can add this even if it's not asked,
Of
even if
course,
it's not
of
part of the.
course. You have to speak relevant, okay? Don't add something which is not relevant, okay? Just add something which is closely related to the topic, just to keep the conversation going, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Personally, when I live here in Riyadh, so personally when I am back home, I like to spend my free time visiting my friends, hanging out with them, and catching up, because most of the times it's always a while I haven't seen them, so it's a good chance to catch up with them.
Great. What do you enjoy most about living in your country?
As I said before, my people are very social. So what I enjoy most is the social life there, and this is something we really miss when we travel abroad or live abroad. So social life there is very rich. There's always something going on in the evenings. There's always a wedding. There's always like gathering, family or friends gathering. So there's always something going on, and you don't feel bored at all.
Yeah, okay. Would you say that your country is a good place to visit?
Well, yes and no. My country is not that developed if you compare it to Saudi Arabia, for example, but there are still very interesting tourist attractions that people might find nice and interesting. People can go and visit the pyramids in Bidrawiya. There's also the River Nile, which is running south to north the country, and the River Nile meets in Khartoum, so it's also a nice place to visit, where the River Nile meets the Blue Nile and the White Nile,
Okay.
and then they flow.
Now that's the end of topic 1. Let's move to topic 2 in part 1, which is about food. What's your favorite meal?
My favorite meal is oh, sorry, I shouldn't answer using the same words.
Yeah, problem. I was writing this note, but it's
yeah, yeah. I am really into Italian food, so my favorite dish would be spaghetti, and I am actually a good cook. So this is one of the best dishes that I prepare, and my family loves it when I cook it for them.
okay. So do you prefer to eat out or eat at home?
Of course, eating at home has a special taste because all the family gathers around the dining table. So I prefer cooking and having meals with my family at home. We rarely eat out. That happens on weekends, but the other days of the week we eat at home.
Oh, nice. Are there any traditional meals that you would recommend? And when I say traditional, well, I mean dishes in your country. the Sudanese cuisine, probably?
In my country, the cuisine is really rich, and we have very special meals. One of the best dishes that I like very much and enjoy is okra. It's a very healthy meal, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's cooked using onions and meat, and of course okra. It's cooked like a stew, and you can have it with bread or rice. It's very delicious, and it's also very healthy and tasteful.
How have people's eating habits changed in your country?
In the recent years, lifestyle has became more rapid. It's not like it was before. So people started to eat out more because people have now longer shifts and they are working longer hours, and they come home very late. So people started eating out more. This changed the eating habits of people. Before people used to gather, like the family would gather 3 times a day for the 3 meals. Now they would only gather for 1 meal, and some people that don't even come back for dinner.
So you think this is a negative change or a positive change?
Well, it's both, I would say. It's negative and positive. Life pace should have to change because the world is a small country. Is a small country now, and people have to catch up with globalization, and they have to work more.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of part one. Let's move to part two. Do you have a pencil and a sheet of paper?
Yes.
Would you please, do you have the book, the official Cambridge Guide to IELTS?
Yes, I do.
Can you open page 265?
Oh, let me just get that. I have a small sheet. I'll just get the big book.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you see it right now on the screen? Let me share my screen.
Okay.
That I can help you. Can you see it now?
Yes. Yeah, and I have it open.
Yeah, okay. So you will be given a minute to prepare your ideas to cover the 4 questions in 2 minutes. I will give you 2 minutes to express yourself, to talk about this for 3 bullet points. You have to cover all of them, by the way, you know that? So if you cover only 3 points, 3 questions, and you don't cover the 4th one, that will affect your score badly. And if you speak for less than 2 minutes, that also will affect your score badly, okay? So you have to speak for 2 minutes until they stop you. If they didn't stop you, just keep talking, by the way.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah, and remember to cover the 4 questions before the 2 minutes is over, because sometimes when the 2 minutes is over, they say, okay, thank you very much. You say, well, I want to speak. I just want to answer the 4th question and say, I'm sorry, time is up. So you have to finish the 4 questions in just 2 minutes. Then, if you want to go over and over, you can say, well, I'd like to add something. One thing I forgot to mention. ممكن بقى تستخدمي اي اكستنشن علشان ترجعي تتكلمي في الموضوع او تضيفي حاجه، لكن في الاولويه بتاعتك ان تخلصي ال4 اسئله في الدقيقتين.
Yes.
You have to arrange your plan for this task, part 2, like this, clockwise, and just write single words, not phrases or sentences. النوتس اللي تكتبيها في خلال الدقيقه تكون بهذا الشكل عشان ده بيوفر علينا كتير واحنا بنتكلم وبيخلينا ما نتشتتش. And now you have got a minute to plan for your talk. Go ahead, please.
Okay. You will let me know when the minute is over?
Yeah, okay, no problem.
Okay.
So are you ready now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So speak up, please.
Okay, I would like to tell you about my favorite show, which is a show that's aired on NBC4. It's named Doctors, and it's actually a talk show It's a talk show for a group of doctors from different specializations, and it's aired every day for an hour. The show is really interesting because it discusses different issues. It's not too complicated for an average person to understand and to attend, because the language the doctors use is really simple for people, for like general people to understand. I'm not a doctor myself, but I am really interested in health issues because I think what you are what you eat. So it's very important to know what's going on with your body, with your system. So what happens in the show is that the group of doctors, they change every other day. They bring doctors from different specialization to talk about health issues. For example, skin issues, general health, diet, lifestyle, diabetes, blood pressure, digestion, different issues that are all related to our day-to-day life, and that are all related to our lifestyle and to our health. So the doctors come and discuss a specific topic on that day, and then they get like people calling in with their questions and they answer. So it's really helpful for me.
Thank you.
Is that 2 minutes?
So you spoke, more than 2 minutes, by the way. I give you like...
I didn't cover the fourth.
You didn't cover probably the third and the fourth question, or only the fourth question?
The fourth.
Only the fourth? So
yeah.
You said why
the third. Why do I enjoy watching it?
You talked about this part, this question.
So when I answer, do I have to answer, is this in the same sequence the questions are written?
Yeah, it's supposed to, because it's logically arranged, by the way. So if you stick to the questions, the 4 questions, the first one, which kind of television program it is, then what happens, why you enjoy it, why you enjoy watching it, why you recommend it to people. So it's logically arranged, by the way. So you don't have to skip a question, then get back to it.
So what happens if I miss one question?
If you didn't cover a question of the 4, you would not get the full score in this part, because the criteria, the point is to cover the 4 questions in 2 minutes. That's the point. Okay. So if you didn't cover the 4 points, that would affect your score. And if you spoke for less than 2 minutes, that also will affect your score. So you have to manage your time. You have to have looks at the plan you did. Then keep a good eye contact with the examiner, just to keep talking for 2 minutes. Okay.
So how do I count the 2 minutes on the real?
You don't have to count the 2 minutes, but you have to manage your time as much as you can to cover the 4 questions.
Okay.
And if you want to get back to the first question, or you want to add something, you can use one of the expansion techniques. You can say, oh, one thing I forgot to mention, like this. I'd like to add something.
Yeah.
And also you can start talking about this part, saying a very good statement like, well, you asked me to talk about a television program that I watch. To that aim, I have chosen to talk about, وتقولي اسم الشو.
Okay.
بتعرض فين وكده، فدي دخلة بتبقى كويسة في الموضوع يعني. Okay, now let's move to part 2.
Apparently, I have a problem with timing.
You have to adjust yourself. Like,
yes.
Go for the tests and talk about part 2 and set a timer.
Okay.
ضربي على الموضوع يعني. شوفي part 2 في اختبارات كتيرة. اعملي البلان في دقيقة وسيت تايمر فور 2 minutes. هتلاقيها ظبطت معاكي بعد مرتين او 3 كده. خلاص هيبقى عندك يعني سنس كده ان انا خلاص دقيقتين كده خلصوا، او ان انا كده انجزت في المهمة دي، قلت ال4 حاجات او كده يعني.
اوكي.
طبعا ما ينفعش ندخل نجرب في الاختبار، دي بتبقى مشكلة بتواجه ناس كتير ما بيعرفوش هم جابوا سكور قليل ليه، رغم ان هم بذلوا مجهود وبيتكلموا كويس، ما عندهمش problems في الفوكابولري والجرامر والpronunciation sound يعني مفيش حاجة كويس يعني. طيب, now let's move to part 3 and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because the questions shouldn't be like seen, should only be heard to check your understanding and check.
So it's not the same page I am on?
Yeah, just please close your book.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't have to watch the questions because there is something in the speaking test about understanding the examiner's words.
Okay, I get it.
So part 3, the role of advertising on television. How do you feel about the amount of advertising on television?
Well, to me, I find it very annoying because sometimes when you're watching something and you're really interested in what's being aired, they just cut it out because there is a commercial break.
I see.
And yeah.
No, keep talking, please. I'm sorry. Keep talking. You don't have to You have to extend your answers in part 3 particularly. يعني
okay.
extension في 1 و 2 مقبولة لكن 3 ده لا. 3 you have 6 questions and you have to speak for 4 minutes or 5 minutes.
4 minutes.
Then
okay. So
you have
this
speak
is longer.
for 45 seconds in each question, not 30 seconds like the one before, like in part 1 we did.
Okay.
So you have to expand your answers, and also we have some expansion techniques here you can use, just like the ones I told you in part 2. Okay?
Yeah, okay. So it's as I said, it's really annoying because they cut the show that you're watching because they want to earn some advertising. But we all know that these channels are being paid for advertising the products, and it's justified.
So in what ways has television advertising changed in the last 10 years?
Well, this is a good question. I haven't thought about it actually, but I think that the amount of advertisement has increased in the recent years because people now are there is high competition in the market, and companies are striving to make profits, so people are now making more ads than they used to do in the past.
Mm-hmm. To what extent are people influenced by the advertising they see on television?
Definitely, people are getting an impact from the advertisements. Otherwise, the companies wouldn't have spent a lot of money on marketing and making advertisements on TV. Personally, I am one of the people who are really impacted by what's advertised on TV. Sometimes I would just go the next morning to buy the product that I saw last night.
So they affected you badly or in a good way?
I would say badly, because advertisement is always says always more than what the product really is. So you get impressed by what you see on the TV, and then you just go and buy the product to find that it doesn't keep all the promises they said it does.
So let's move to the second topic in part 3, which is the effect of films on society. Not advertising now, we move to films, okay? So why do people still enjoy going to the cinema to watch a film?
Sorry, we are still in part 3?
Yeah, part 3 has 2 topics. The first one was about advertising on television, and we have finished the 3 questions already. And now we're moving on to the effect of films on society.
So part 3 doesn't have to be related to part 2, you mean? It could be a different topic?
Part 3 is closely related to part 2. It's just like further questions.
Okay.
More complex questions related to part 2.
Okay. Sorry. So what was the question?
No problem. Why do people still enjoy going to the cinema to watch a film?
The cinema is always different than watching films at home. The idea of going out with friends makes it special. Sometimes it can be a rendezvous. You can go for a movie, for a date, for example. So this is why cinema is always special, and it's always a different type of entertainment.
هنا ممكن مثال على الاكستنشن. You can say what will happen or what would happen if there are no cinemas, you know. ممكن نعمل اكستنشن هنا كده لان هم بيحبوا الاكستنشنز قوي. الثمانيه اكستنشنز اللي احنا قلنا عليهم من شويه دول.
To give the negative opinion, right?
ماشي، ده اكستنشن تاني ان انت what's the negative side of cinemas, okay?
No, I mean the negative side of not having cinemas.
Okay, as you wish, as you wish. We have 8 expansion techniques that you can use. What sort of influence can films have on people?
Films can be very influential on people, and because you know this is a difficult topic to talk about.
Well, you can use one of the expansion techniques. What sort of influence can films have on people? You mean, you know, when you talk about influence or effect, you will have to talk about positive sides and negative sides of issues. So you can talk about the positive sides of films and the negative sides of films, and you can give your opinion, and you can say what would happen if there are no movies on TV or in the cinemas. So you have a lot of things to discuss in this part. So don't worry if you feel that you don't have enough idea or plenty of ideas, because you already have. Just think it over and give it a go.
And do I have time before each question to
no, you don't have time.
No, it has to be spontaneous, right?
Yeah, you have to respond as quick as you can.
Okay. So what was the question again? Sorry.
What sort of influence can films have on people?
Cinemas in general have great influence on people, because what you watch can really affect you either in a negative or a positive way, especially young people, because they're still like growing up, and they are still trying to find their ways in life. So if they watch a movie, they will really be affected by what the movie is about.
So they have good influence or bad influence?
It has both. It depends on the movie you're watching. If it's a good movie, it will really inspire you and make you think positively about things.
Okay.
If it's
one last question. Should filmmakers be responsible for the impact their films can have on people?
In an ideal world, I think filmmakers and I think I should change filmmakers to directors, maybe, because
okay.
The same word.
Send them
in an ideal world, directors should be
give advice. You know, this is a problem now. We have a problem now, so try to find a way to give like a suggestion or a piece of advice for the filmmakers.
Yeah, in an ideal world, directors should be accountable for the films they make, because, as we said before, movies have a great impact on the society. So they should be aware of what kind of films they are making.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test. عقبال كده الاختبار الحقيقي إن شاء الله.
Oh my God. I didn't do well.
You did a great job.
Okay.
بالنسبة للفلونسي and coherence. طبعا أنا هبعت لحضرتك تقييم في ورقة 4/4، وهبعت لك رسالة صوتية بخصوص التفاصيل. يعني مش عايز أبقى متسرع دلوقتي، خليني كده هقعد مع نفسي إن شاء الله وأطلع الملاحظات دي كلها في ورقة تقييم.
اوكي.
هبعتها لحضرتك وابعت لك رسالة صوتية بالمعايير ال4 وايه النصائح بالظبط اللي انا عايزك تشتغل عليها يعني.
اوكي.
ان شاء الله هحاول، بما اننا في ويكند، فانا I would try to send you the feedback as soon as possible.
Okay.
Tonight or tomorrow, as soon as possible, I will do it.
Very good. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
You too.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.